What is up, everybody? Truz here. More specifically, Adrian here. As you read the title, today I'm breaking down the top 5 most underrated players in Madden NFL 21. Obviously, there's a lot of players that couldn't make the list because, I don't know, the Madden ratings adjuster doesn't do too solid of a job, in my opinion. But I tried to pick 10 that I think are very important, that really need a boost, and I put them in the list. I have some explanations behind them. I'm not going to bore you with going on about what the video's about. We're just going to get right back into it, and we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to explain why these guys need a rating boost. So here we go. Starting off number 1, we're going to have Jalen Alexander. It's 92 overall right now. It's very solid, but his play in 2020 has really surpassed that by far in a big way. Pro Football Focus has him as the highest rated corner so far in 2020. He's made big plays. He shut down otherwise very good receivers, such as the entire Detroit Lions receiving corps. The main receiver in that game was T.J. Hawkinson, obviously not Jair's main liability, but the receivers were basically all held under 30 yards, 20 yards. He's also held down Julio Jones and Will Fuller, just to name a few. 92 is obviously still great, but Jalen Ramsey and Stephon Gilmore are ahead of him at 96 and 99. I think he definitely deserves to be more in their range, if not above them. I think at the end of the day, probably a 96 or 97 would be fair for Jair, and definitely room for improvement if he keeps this pace going towards later in the year. Next up, we're going to have just a 79. Like, 79, you heard that right. At this point, it's just, EA, what are you doing? I don't even know how to explain this. Like, I don't have to explain this that much, I mean. He's almost in all talks for being an MVP run. He just led his team to a comeback to beat the MVP frontrunner in Russell Wilson. He makes plays happen with his feet, and he's no stranger to airing it out and dropping dimes. I gotta mention, Colin Kaepernick is rated above him. The guy hasn't played in for years, and Colin Kaepernick's rated above him. That's enough said. Kyler Murray deserves to be an 85 or above, maybe even approaching the 90s. Like, there's no leeway for that. He can either be 85 at the lowest, and then the range from 85 to 92. That's the most fair thing. I don't know why he's 79. I don't know if he forgot about him, the rating adjuster. I think he just forgot about Kyler Murray, to be honest. Next up, we're gonna go with another quarterback. I got Derek Carr here, currently 82 overall. The slinger from Las Vegas. Carr's gone almost under the radar this year, but that shouldn't be the case. He's led his team to be the only blemish on an otherwise perfect Kansas City Chiefs team. He's third in pass rating right behind Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, who are also MVP frontrunners. He's also ahead of familiar names such as Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees, just to remind you and let you know how high that pass rating caliber really is. One unstated fact about Derek Carr this year has been that he's played this way with Nelson Aguilar. Really only established target is Darren Waller, who has played great only with Carr at quarterback. I'm not saying Waller isn't a beast on the gridiron, though. It's just the point is that Carr has gotten done great success with limited options at pass catcher, and then Darren Waller's obviously done great, but we've only seen that sample size of him playing great with Carr at helm. So their success is probably correlated more than separated, in my opinion. This is just a classic example of Madden using name bias or rating based off players' name value or popularity. Looking at Gronk at the 94 overall, I don't know what that was in the beginning of the year. Gronk was 94, but not digressing. All jokes aside, Carr should definitely be around the 87 range and approaching the 90 caliber if he continues his pace. Next up, we have someone who I enjoy watching play, especially on Red Zone. And that's going to be Miles Sanders, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Injuries have plagued Sanders in the 2020 season and basically his whole career. But there's a reason for the injury rating in Madden and why it's separated from your skill ratings. When healthy, Sanders has averaged an insane 6.1 yards per carry this year. That's the third highest in the NFL and number 1 among running backs. He also has the 5th longest run of the year at 74 yards. That's one like the play I was talking about, Red Zone. Watching Red Zone, him balling out there. Sanders is quick, shifty, explosive, and when healthy is an absolute weapon for the Eagles. And why he's only an 81, I have no clue. In my opinion, above, that's really all it's going to be. There's no reason for him not to be. Like, injury 88, that's too high. That's too high. That should go down, but the rest of his other skill ratings should go up. It's just Madden sometimes can be annoying with their ratings. Next up, we're gonna have Vince Williams, middle linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Blech. Trying to go back to overall, so we gotta go decently far down for him. At the older age in terms of NFL players, at 30 years old, Father Time forgot to tell Vince Williams that this year. As a Ravens fan, it's hard to admit, and it kind of sucks to admit, especially when they're playing this week, but Vince Williams has been having a great season. You can attribute some of that success to TJ Watt being close to him, but to give it all the way to Watt would be unjust. Williams has been a beast with tackles for losses. He's second in tackles for losses and only one behind his brother in black and gold, TJ Watt. Williams also has 3 sacks and 4 quarterback hurries from the middle linebacker position. But you know, classic Madden with their ratings. He's only at 79. I even saw a video of Derrick Henry. He wanted nothing to do with Williams in pass protection. I mean, I'll put the link in the description if I can. But you know, he sees Williams coming through, I think the A gap, and he tries to block him. And when he sees him coming, he just gets out of the way. He like fakes like he's going for a route and then goes back to block, and it's just sad. But I'm not knocking on Henry. It just shows that Vince Williams has really been on point this year, and to put him at just a 79 is it's just stupid. Definitely needs to be an 84 or higher. I think 8 for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Much to my dismay as a Ravens fan, but as an NFL fan, you know, he's been doing great this year, and you gotta give him the credit. Gotta give credit where credit's due, and you can't forget Vince Williams. Next up, we're going back to the cornerback position with Xavien Howard of the Miami Dolphins. He's just only in, I think, 83. Yeah, he's 83. Howard's done amazing this year. In fact, I believe Howard should be in the running for comeback player of the year. He was hurt last year and only played 5 games and didn't play too solid in those games. I think he was nursing the injury. But he's really come back this year to be one of the best corners in the league. That's not an understatement, or that's not an overstatement. That's an understatement. Howard leads the league in game with 0 yards allowed in coverage with 3 games. He's had 3 games this year where he's allowed 0 yards in coverage. Second in that list is a 96 overall Jalen Ramsey. I'm not going to even go up that far. Who's only had 2 games like that. Obviously, 2 is still good, but that just shows Xavien Howard 3 games where a receiver hasn't gotten a single yard on him. He's only in 83. To keep listing, he leads the league in interceptions with 4, and he has a top, so the pass rating when the quarterback throws, when they target his receiver against Howard, it's in the top 5 lowest at only 49. So that means quarterbacks have a pass rating of 49 when targeting receivers covered by Howard, which is not good at all. 49 is so low, and that just shows Howard has been a beast this year. I feel like if he was on any team besides the Dolphins, the Madden ratings adjuster, God forbid, if Xavien Howard was on the Dallas Cowboys, the rating adjuster, his golden child, the Cowboys, he'd be like a 90 overall, 92 instantly. And that's what he deserves. Xavien Howard deserves to be a 90 or a little bit above that. He's definitely worthy of that. It's just he's on the Dolphins. They're not giving him credit, and he's way too low for his overall of how he's played this year. Doesn't make sense, but that's Madden for you, and I'm just making this list to kind of show how dumb it's been. And hopefully this can get traction and get these guys boosted up, because I mean we're all for playing a more realistic game, and having guys like this at 83 is not realistic at all. But next up, we're gonna have Montez Sweat of the Washington football team, who is currently an 80 overall. But that has been nowhere near his play this year. Sweat has generated 5 sacks, 9 tackle for losses, 12 QB hurries, 21 tackles, and 2 forced fumbles. If I rated that stat line, it sounds something like an 80 at all. Once again, you can see Madden with the name bias rating, because Chase Young is above Sweat. Not by much, but he is above him. As you can see, Chase Young's an 83. Chase Young is a beast. But Chase Young is that high because he's a well-known draft commodity. He's a higher known draft prospect, number 2 overall pick, I think. People love that guy. They really are hyped for his potential. But there's a reason why Madden has a dev trait and overall difference, because sure they both might become beasts together. Maybe Chase Young will be the better player in the end, but this year you gotta say, based on his play this year, Derek Wolfe is the same overall as him. I'm a Ravens fan. Derek Wolfe has done nothing all year pretty much, except for you know, suspecting that he has COVID. That's the biggest thing he's done this year. I mean, like, and Montez Sweat's the same rating as him when he's popped off. Like, what is that? That's just shaking my head, Madden. Next up, we're going to go back to the quarterback position. Josh Allen, slinger for the Buffalo Bills. Only an 82. Just like Kyler Murray, he's in the MVP running. He's shown real third-year improvement with already 2,000 passing yards, 16 TDs, and you know, reasonable 4 interceptions. He almost got beat by the Jets, but you know, we'll give him a mulligan for that one. Allen and Diggs, you know, the new off-season acquisition of Stephon Diggs from the Minnesota Vikings. They've looked very good together, and the occasional bad game is it's expected, especially with a guy like Allen, who was known to have needed some development while being drafted. Like, they knew he was going to need some, maybe a year or 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. One of those project guys who you develop into becoming a great player. But I think he's been a little ahead of schedule almost, because this year he's in an MVP race. Especially if he has a great second half, he could definitely even win it. And he's only one above a guy who hasn't played in ages. Womp, womp, womp. But anyway, Allen needs to be around 86, 87, 88 when you consider his 2020 improvement. Next up, we're gonna go with tight end. This one is more so because he's a low overall at only a 70, I believe. And we're going low out of nowhere at the age of 24 due to injuries. Although he hasn't had the best season numbers, he has played decently, racking up 25 grabs for 282 yards and 2 TDs in 7 games. He does have a solid 62.5 catch rate as well, especially when considering Andy Dalton was his quarterback for a week. You know, take that how you want it, but that could slant his stats in a negative way, but he still has had somewhat decent stats. Like I said before, though, main reason why he's on this list is because he's only a 70, and I feel like he should just be bumped up from a 70. It's not very, like, the guys around him, I'm sure a lot of you guys don't even know who these people are, except for Logan Thomas and Kristen Herndon. But I mean, I feel like a lot of these guys, you might not even know who they are. You might not see them on the field a lot because they're mainly backups or just like unknown guys, which is fine. But to put him at a 70 is, I think, a little wrong. It's also surprising too how much the Madden ratings adjuster just gushes over the Cowboys. That guy just loves the Cowboys. So next up, finally we have the last guy, which is going to be the 7th round pick, Myles Gaskin. I know another Dolphins player, but this rating is borderline disrespectful. They have Gaskin at a 72 overall, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 72. In Gaskin's second year, he boasts a 93.1% catch rate, which is insane. He's been targeted 29 times and has brought it in 27 of those times, and yet his catching is only 71. Short route 61, 55 medium route, and 46 deep route. Like, his catching is not that impressive. It's pretty weak. I mean, I think it should definitely be better. Besides just the catching too, Gaskin has rushed 82 times for 340 yards and a touchdown, and a running back by committee backfield too. So it's not like he's a sole back. He's on pace for 907 rushing yards and 484 receiving yards, which would put him at 1,300. I want to say 91. Yeah, I think, yeah, 1,391 scrimmage yards, which is definitely a great season for a second-year 7th round draft pick. On a team that's developing and currently rebuilt, I guess, for the Dolphins, but I think 72 is definitely too weak for that. And he should be maybe 79, 80, around that. That'd be definitely a good region for him. But anything below that, I think, is definitely just because it's not correct. But that's all for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great day. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And I want to know if you want to see a most overrated players in Madden NFL 21. But that's all from me. Thanks. Have a great day. Make sure to click that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell. Peace out.